Is your child in swim lessons? Would you like to help them practice? Hi, I'm Margo Little and I've been a water safety instructor for 18 years. These videos have some tips on how you can help your child practice what they're learning. The first tip is to keep it fun and positive. Years ago, I focused on Learn to Swim because it's so important and in demand. And I found that while every child learns differently and has a different confidence level, they all respond to love and patience, as well as praise and positive persistence. So keep it fun and positive and don't give up. Your child will learn. So let's get started with explaining what your child is being taught so you can join them in the fun and exciting and very likely life-saving process of learning to swim. You're going to love this. Safety, elements of swimming and kicking. Body position, bubble blowing, propulsion, coordination. All your child's lessons will include these elements of swimming. They'll also learn some water safety. And as a water safety instructor, I cannot emphasize it enough. One of the most important things you can do as a parent is to get certified in CPR and first aid. It only takes a few hours, but it can give you a lifetime of confidence as a parent. I was certified in high school at 15 because it was a requirement to graduate. But I'm grateful for that because I had to use it 17 years later to save one of my own children. He was choking on a piece of candy when he was 2 years old. I was always very careful with my children, so I couldn't believe it was happening. And I don't know if you know this, but without oxygen to the brain damage can occur in 2 minutes and death in 4 minutes. I've been certified, I knew how to recognize and handle the emergency in less than 1 minute. He's 30 years old now. So for your own benefit and confidence as a parent, get certified in CPR and first aid. Just Google a certification class near you. Your child will appreciate it. That's an important thing you need to know about water safety. But wait, there's more. Another safety tip I want to point out is to put your child in a brightly colored swimsuit so you can see him in the water. Neon or bright red, orange, or purple are best. Neon yellow and green are okay. Neon blue, maybe not. It's still blue and it still blends in with the pool water. Also, white blends into the glare from the sun or the pool lights. Look at these pictures. When I was a lifeguard, I learned that a white suit can be invisible. Another thing is sunblock. Please use the baby kind with zinc. Adult sunscreen is actually toxic to children because it's absorbed into their skin and a chemical reaction creates the sunscreen. Kids' bodies can't handle all those chemicals. Zinc is best for them. You don't want to poison your child. Also, children under 6 months should not be in a chlorinated pool. Children under 6 months absorb chlorine into their skin, and that's also a poison. Okay, that's some important basic safety. You should check with Google for a more comprehensive list. But another thing I have experienced is to keep your eyes on your child whenever she's around the water. And you're going to need to be careful, and I mean be careful, while you're talking to your friends. I always say that adult conversation is your child's worst enemy. It's just all too easy to forget about the children when you're caught up chatting with another adult. I have a story of a preschooler I taught who was at a lake party with her parents. Everyone thought someone else was watching the baby. She walked out onto the dock, and of course, because preschools' heads are heavy and throw off their balance, she fell in. They found her 20 minutes later clinging to the piling because she'd learned to kick back to the wall in her swim lessons. All too often, though, an incident like that ends in tragedy, with either brain damage or death. So you really have to intentionally keep an eye on your child while you're talking. And one more thing that you may already know, is if you have a pool, don't forget to put a fence around it. Phew, that's a lot to remember, but it's well worth it if you really want to enjoy your summer. Time to talk about body position and kicking. Do this in water deep enough that you can squat down so your shoulders are an inch or two above the surface, but shallow enough to keep you stable. Meet my assistant, Aqua. She helps me show you what's going on under the water. Of course, your child will not be wearing shoes or need a head stabilizer. You'll need to hold your child in what's called the hug position, with her arms around your neck and her head resting on your shoulder. Keep her legs out straight. If your child is too long for this position and you can't hold her legs out straight, you can have her sit on the pool steps to work on kicking. If you find that your child is holding her head up high and off your shoulder, it could be that your shoulder is dipping under the water. Make sure that your shoulder is above the surface so that your child can relax, lay flat, and breathe. The flutter kick is probably the first kick your child will learn. Good muscle memory is what you want your child to have, so repetition is the key to learning how to do this kick properly all the time. Hold her knees straight and encourage her to kick from her hips. Her whole leg should be moving up and down like this. Short, quick kicks are what you want. Think about the small propeller behind a big ship. No kicking from her knees. When your child is kicking on her own, her knees will bend, and that's fine. But don't do it intentionally. Don't have her practice kicking from her knees. No big deep kicks. This pulls water from under your child, which will tend to pull your child into a vertical position. A kick that's very common is the bicycle kick. This kick will move your child in the water, but it's useless for learning strokes. Plus, it uses way too much energy for the amount of work that's actually getting done. Your child kicks hard, but moves very slowly. Your child may have learned the bicycle kick from floating in a floaty for too long. 20 minutes in a floaty is enough when your child is playing in the water. A good way to stop the bicycle kick is to tell your child to splash when she kicks. Now, some kids are very talented and learn how to splash while doing the bicycle kick. I stop that by holding my arm under their legs, so they have to kick with their hips. Eventually their muscles get trained, but you do have to stay vigilant or their muscles revert back. I don't think some kids grow out of this bicycle kick either. I've taught some older kids who are still kicking that way. No. Of course, make sure your child is moving forward while kicking, and to keep yourself from getting a backache, try bending your knees and keeping your back straight. That works for me. A fun and useful thing to do is each time when you reach the wall, turn your child around and place her feet against it. Then tell her to push off the wall using both feet together. I've found that doing that just once a lap is usually enough for your child to learn in a few laps. As an instructor, it's always nice when students already know how to firmly push off the wall. While I'm teaching, I sing funny songs and play silly games to keep the kids from getting bored with all the repetition. For a game, a favorite is where you toss a floating toy out and he kicks to get them. They love that game. I hope this helps you. Enjoy your child and happy kicking!